Good afternoon, Liesel. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to be here.
Uh, Clayton, I dare say good afternoon, given the alarming stats that have come out and perhaps the implications thereof. Talk to us about some of the contributing factors to the unemployment rate and what the solution rather, is to better improve these figures.
It's definitely alarming. It's something that's close to my heart, and I track closely as a senior director at Cisco. We're seeing trends in the market where jobs are changing. Specifically, if you look at reports like the World Economic Forum Future of Job Reports, it shows that globally, some 23% jobs are expected to change kind of in the next 3 to 5 years. But at the same time, as much as we see change in jobs, we see new jobs being created, right? So we see kind of jobs being eliminated, but new jobs being created. I think what we need to do as South Africans is we have to heed the call around learning new skills, trying to move into positions where we have the right skills to capture the new opportunities and these new emerging jobs that's coming through, right? So we definitely tracking it closely. Besides the economic factors that we're seeing, we're certainly seeing technology playing a role. But as much as technology is playing a role in eliminating some jobs, it's also playing a massive role of creating net new jobs as well at the same time.
Absolutely. It's a twofold effect there. But I think just before we explore that a little bit further, I want to look at the issue of South Africa's current electricity crisis. South Africa dealing with rolling blackouts. You speak about opportunities that come with technology. My question is, how do we begin to embrace these opportunities? How sustainable is the digital future of education while we're currently dealing with load shedding? How do we begin to mitigate against that?
It's tough for everybody. I mean, I personally feel it. If you're living in South Africa and if you don't feel the effects of load shedding, I think you are lying to yourself. What we're starting to see, though, is we're starting to see emergence of a new sector starting to develop. In the technology side, we're seeing emergence of the sustainability sector starting to thrive, and we're starting to see new jobs there being created. I think you saw that the MEC for Gauteng announced, training engineers to install solar systems. We're starting to see these new jobs starting to create. I think in the education side, it is a brand new topic for you to learn around sustainability in the electricity grid, but also sustainability in technology. Definitely from an education perspective, I think it is a new topic, but is a skill that you can acquire in a very short space of time, and you'll be able to contribute back into the economy and try to solve this problem. I'm particularly proud of some of the strides that's been taken, at least in local government, around solar and renewable energies. I think most of the tech companies, from a Cisco perspective, we are moving towards net zero goals and standards. And I think everybody is starting to play a role to contribute towards the energy crisis that we're seeing. And I think if everybody joins forces, I think we could try and solve this problem as a collective force.
Well, you speak about joining forces. Let's zoom in a little bit, zoom out rather. Africa as a continent, how do we begin to bridge Africa's digital divide? Perhaps as it pertains to education, when we're looking at skills of the future and using technology, whilst eliminating some jobs, creating avenues for more to be created and maintained.
When we talk about digital inclusion at Cisco, we link it to our purpose statement of a company, and I'm proud. I'm one of those individuals that love my job. I wake up every day, delivering impact at a country level through the work that I do. But if you look at starting off with connectivity or this concept of digital inclusion, if you compare Africa to, the US and Europe, about 80 to 90% of the population in the US and Europe are connected. They have internet access. But on average, about 40% of Africans are connected, and they almost kind of removed from the system, right? So the first thing we need to do is play a role to ensure that we provide decent connectivity to everybody, all aspects of the population in Africa. The second thing that we need to focus on is how do we provide the right training content so people of South Africa can benefit and contribute back into what we call the internet economy. or the technology economy. And I think at Cisco, we're really playing a role around what we're doing in our networking academies. If you look at what we're doing in our networking academies across the continent, to date, we've trained 1.6 million people across Africa. We have, 1,184 Cisco academies. And these are institutions that you can go to. We partner with nonprofits, educational institutes, and you can go to these institutes and get a technical skill at zero cost. And a technical skill, if you get a certification, there's a 92% possibility that you'll get a job, right? Based on just the demand that we see, right? So to the point of collective force, Liesel, I think everybody needs to play a role. I don't think Cisco can do this alone. If we have other tech companies, other organizations really trying to focus on technical vocational skills, I think it's important. What we're seeing from a Cisco perspective, you could do a short course and you could jump into the industry fairly quickly. There's a trend that we're seeing now. Besides what I mentioned in sustainability, there's a trend in cybersecurity. We just can't train enough cybersecurity professionals because there's a high demand of that particular skill.
Absolutely. And then also just restoring Africa's agency within the global sphere, solidifying our presence there as we contribute. Thank you for your time with us. Let's leave that conversation there. Clayton Naidu, Senior Director at Cisco, just, weighing in on solutions to better improve the figures that have come out on Tuesday. We saw Stats SA announcing that South Africa's unemployment rate rose to 32.9%.